Part 93. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 921. Chapter 921 Uncontrolled Kiss 1. Tanyuj was in a state of excitement, because he would succeed in peeping and see his dear wife. He. I'm really a little excited when I think about it. Tanyuj carried out whatever he thought of. He was never a timid person, not to mention that he firmly believed that Jianyuman was his woman and it would be a big deal not to give her a beating if he took one look at her. Holding the handle in hand, he quickly opened the door, stretched out his head and looked at the person inside with a sly look, and saw the graceful figure that did not disappoint him. Unfortunately, her back was turned to him, and she could only see her well-defined back and those long legs that he loved so much. Jianyuman didn't notice that Tanyuj came in and was wiping his body with a towel while humming an off-key Pacific tune. Jianyuman was wiping her body and didn't notice an old devil sneaking in. Just as she was about to pick up the body lotion and wipe her body, she saw a head printed in the mirror out of the corner of her eye. At first she thought she had seen it wrong, but when she took a closer look, it turned out to be a head. It was not that she had seen it wrong. Jianyuman roared angrily, quickly turned to face Tanyuj, holding body lotion in her hand, and threw it at him without hesitation. Tanyuj, who was discovered, did not feel any shame. He quickly dodged the body lotion she threw at him, smiled crookedly on his face, and boldly admired Jianyuman's graceful figure. With Jianyuman's figure, it is absolutely impossible to tell that she has given birth to a child. Her skin looks like that of a young girl, and it is more bumpy than that of a young girl. With her anger, she looks deeply seductive at the moment. The little devil in Tanyuj's heart drove him to rush over, hug the angry little woman in front of him, and bully her. "Your grandma, you are still looking at it, let me see if I don't dig out your eyes." Faced with Tanyuj's gaze, Jianyuman jumped over with her long legs. Tanyuj immediately turned around and ran when he saw it, letting out a hearty laugh as he ran. Jianyu's figure is getting better and better. It seems that she has been exercising recently. I really want to hold it. But he didn't say this. If he said it, he might not see the sun tomorrow. But, if he doesn't say it, will it really be okay? Is there really nothing going on? The answer is, even if he doesn't say it out loud, his behavior of peeping at the pervert is enough for Jianyuman to beat her horizontally and vertically again. "Tanyuj, let me see if I don't beat you to death today." Jianyuman went berserk. This old gangster's nickname was really not wrong at all. He actually peeked at her bathing in broad daylight. It was so audacious. "I'm not going to be nice today. Teach him a lesson and she will take his last name." Jianyuman chased after her quickly, with Tanyuj running in front, but the whole room was only about 30 square meters, so there was nowhere to escape. In addition, Tanyuj didn't run very fast, and Jianyuman, who was angry, ran even faster, and threw Tanyuj onto the bed in one fell swoop. Jianyuman stretched out her hand, clenched her fist, and hit Tanyuj quickly. "Ah! Spare my life. I know I was wrong." Tanyuj begged for mercy, but his eyes were always staring at Jianyuman's graceful body. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 922. Chapter 922 Uncontrolled Kiss 3. All the old devil thinks in his mind is that he really wants to do bad things. How great it would be if he just continues like this. "I won't hit you, just get off me," Jianyuman shouted angrily. "You can get up, you've already teased me like this, you have to let me kiss you. You are dreaming." Jianyuman roared. As expected, men are all lower body animals, and all they think about are things between men and women. "Then I'll make a bet with you. If you lose, give me a kiss." Tanyuj stepped back and asked, taking Jianyuman step by step into the ditch. "What to bet on?" Tanyuj took out a coin from his trousers pocket and said with a smile. Toss a coin, if it's heads, let me kiss you, if it's tails, I'll kiss you. Get out, Jian shouted with great difficulty. She was not stupid. What was the difference between him inviting her and her kissing him? I'm just kidding you. If it's the other way around, I'll lie down and beat you without any resistance, no matter where you hit me. That's pretty much it. Tang Yuj held the coin, tossed it upwards, caught it firmly in his hand, and opened his hand towards Jian to show her which side it was. Jian held her breath, her heartbeat slowed down, and she looked at the coin in Tang Yuj's hand. When she saw that the coin showed heads, she rolled her eyes with a painful expression. Ha ha ha. I win, I can have a kiss. Tang Yuj laughed loudly, put the coin with only heads in his pocket, and immediately put it towards her face. Seeing Tang Yuj's handsome face approaching, Jian turned her head away and avoided Tang Yuj's kiss. Wait a minute, I'm going to put my clothes on, it's uncomfortable for you to hold me down. Tang Yuj, who was successfully kissed, showed an unhappy expression and insisted on kissing her. After Jian dodged several times, he reluctantly let go of her hands. Don't be a rascal. If you are a rascal, I will kiss you twice. TCH. It's just a kiss. I won't be a rogue, and it's not like we haven't kissed before. Jian pretended to be indifferent, but in fact she still had some small expectations in her heart. The last time she pretended to be sick, he stole a piece of incense. Recently, she always recalled the scene of the previous passionate kiss from time to time. That kiss last time bothered her a lot. Tang Yuj reluctantly moved away from her body. He couldn't help but look at her, but Jian glared at her and could only regretfully look away. Jian slowly took the bathrobe over, put it on, and slowly swayed it to his side. Tang Yuj was sitting on the bed. The moment Jian turned around, her eyes fell on him again. Jian slowly sat down next to him, her eyes wandering but not falling on Tang Yuj. Then I'll start, don't hit me, you lost the bet with me. A certain old gangster was very polite at the moment and specifically asked for her opinion. What are you whining about, it's just a kiss. The corner of Jian mouth curled up, and she turned towards Tang Yuj, pressed her mouth to hers, and touched his lips. At the moment of kissing, Tang Yuj's mind went blank, and the only thing he could feel was the intimate touch of each other. Jian heartbeat also accelerated rapidly. The moment they met, her tongue pushed into Tang Yuj's mouth, and then she rolled his tongue into her mouth and lingered. The small theater activities have begun, and the concubines are actively participating. As long as you write the interactions between the male and female protagonists, or supporting roles, jokes, short plots, etc., you can also describe the plot of the subsequent content guesses. If more than 10 people participate in the event, you will receive red envelopes and physical book gifts. Everyone is actively participating. If no one participates, we can only cut it in half. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 923. Chapter 923, Being Bumped into One. Jian heartbeat also accelerated rapidly, and she was instantly submerged in the enthusiasm he created. The two are very compatible. Even though they haven't been intimate for nearly 3 years, their feelings for each other are still there. Many times there is no need to think too much at all, the familiar physical sensations have already driven them to continue. The intimacy between the lips could not satisfy Tang Yuj, who had been ready to make a move, and he became more and more unscrupulous. The men and women who were immersed in the wonderful feeling didn't even realize that the door to their room was not closed, and there was a person standing at the door unknowingly. That person was Jian boss Tina. She heard a man's voice next door and came out curiously. She saw Jianyuman's door was half open. She gently opened the door with her hand and saw the man and woman on the bed. She saw the scene inside. Her eyes almost popped out of her head. She didn't expect to see this scene. The two men and women in the room were rolling together in ambiguous postures. From Tina's perspective, Tang Yu's face could not be seen, but no matter how stupid he was, he knew what they were doing. She could see clearly what they were doing. You won't be so stupid as to think that they are just fighting. What are you doing in your room in broad daylight? Do you really think this is home? The man and woman didn't realize how dangerous their actions were. They were about to continue and didn't want to stop. They were about to lose control. Tina, who was standing at the door, couldn't stand it anymore and shouted. A bunch of cynicism. May, I didn't expect you Asians to be so open-minded and like to do things with the door open. I don't even have the guts to do it, but you would still be such a wild woman. Tina's sarcastic voice was like thunder, knocking off the men and women who had lost their minds. Pulled back to reality. The man and woman who were still kissing stopped, looked at each other, and saw the thoughts in each other's eyes. Also aware of how hot their position was now, almost immediately liberating each other. The two of them slowly regained their senses and realized what they had just done. It seemed that they were a little out of control. The two of them felt extremely embarrassed for a moment. Jianyuman sat up in a panic and put on her bathrobe. The annoyance and panic in her eyes made her move a little anxious when putting on the bathrobe. The rope on the bathrobe was tied several times. He didn't succeed, and his face turned red with anxiety. Tang Yu sat up lazily, reached out and pushed back the messy bangs on his forehead, and slowly sat up from the bed. Seeing that Jianyuman couldn't tie the rope around her waist, she burst out laughing and kindly reached out to help her solve the problem and tie the rope. Jianyuman obediently let him tie her up, looking at him with reproach in her eyes, as she had touched him randomly just now. The two of them almost lost control just now, just a little bit. If Tina hadn't suddenly appeared, she might have executed Tang Yuj on the spot. Although she knew that she had no resistance to him, she didn't expect that her resistance was so low that she couldn't withstand the slightest provocation. Tang Yuj didn't feel shy at all. With an evil smile on his lips, he helped her tie the rope. He stared at her red and swollen lips that he kissed with evil eyes, feeling unprecedented satisfaction and comfort in his heart. For this loss of control, he was content and happy as never before, but it was a pity that he was disturbed. This is still very frustrating. However, there is a long way to go, so there is no rush. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 924. Chapter 924, Caught Making Out Too. Tang Yuj didn't feel shy at all. With an evil smile on his lips, he helped her tie the rope. He stared at her red and swollen lips that he kissed with evil eyes, feeling unprecedented satisfaction and comfort in his heart. Jianyuman raised her proud little chin and pouted her mouth a little annoyed, but more importantly she was annoyed that she had no self-control at all. But looking at him with those evil eyes, his heart beat rapidly. The two of them looked at each other as if no one else was watching, their eyes almost fixed on each other. The exchange between their eyes made Tina at the door irritated. Especially when she saw clearly that the man who had a passionate kiss with Jianyuman on the bed just now was actually Mr. Tang, the chairman of the Dihao group, and his eyes were even more blazing. It turns out that the rumors are true. Recently, the entire embassy has spread that Jianyuman has been divorced, and her ex-husband is Mr. Tang, the chairman of the Emgrand group. She is also being pursued by Kenny Bryce, the son of the world's richest man. A man was jealous of Jianyuman in the embassy. When she heard this, she thought others were spreading rumors. How could a woman like Jianyuman, even if she was a bit pretty, let two such outstanding men fall for her? The facts told her that Tang Yuj from the Dihao group was having a passionate fight with Jianyuman in the hotel. They had gone to bed in the hotel room without her interrupting. Humph. I said, May, you are so interested and don't know how to go out and get a room. Don't forget that there are many people living in this room. Tina crossed her hands on her chest and showed a sarcastic smile. Jian Yuman put on her bathrobe, a trace of disgust flashed in her eyes, and she felt disgusted from the bottom of her heart that Tina was causing trouble for her every day. You don't need to care, but don't you think it's rude? Stand at my door and watch me and Mr. Tang making out? Don't you know you should go away? You even open the door, and you show your so-called literacy. Tisk. You. My Chiener is right, you seem to have too much control. Tang Yuj took the opportunity to reach out and put his arm around Jian Yuman's waist, with a strong warning in his eyes, which showed the disgust in Tina's heart. He disappeared without a trace in an instant. His intention to protect his wife was obvious. You can get out of here quickly. If you don't, I wouldn't mind driving you away for you. Jian Yuman turned her head and glanced at him, her eyes widening. Mr. Tang really did everything possible and deliberately held his arms around her waist. And because she was quarreling with Tina, it was impossible for her to break his hand away and then say that it had nothing to do with him. Then wouldn't it be a way for Tina to cause trouble? Excuses, mocking her for being a casual woman. Because Tina was jealous and disgusted with Jian Yuman, she actually forgot what kind of big shot this Mr. Tang was. He was not someone she could laugh at or cause trouble for. Mr. Tang, excuse you. Tina ran away, not daring to continue arguing with Jian Yuman. Who allowed her to quarrel with such an excellent man? It is said that they are a divorced couple. Depending on the situation, the waist is getting back together. She was so angry. Why can May be liked by so many outstanding men? If you don't just have a beautiful face, can your face be used as food? Tina left. Jian Yuman immediately pushed him away with anger in her eyes. Are you happy eating tofu? You obviously bet on a kiss, but was it just a kiss just now? She almost ate him. It was no longer just a kiss. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 925. Chapter 925, Caught Making Out 3. She almost ate him. It was more than just a kiss. It's a kiss, otherwise, Tang Yuj grinned, very innocently and innocently. Anyway, he had the intention of refusing to admit his fault. Okay. Just a kiss. Look here. Jian Yuman pointed to the hickey on her neck, feeling annoyed. She had to use concealer to cover it up when she went out, otherwise she wouldn't tell others that she had been fooling around with a man in the past 2 days. Yet. Oh, I don't know what that is. A certain sugar baby blinked his innocent eyes, pretending not to understand anything. Then let's figure out another thing. How did you get in? Jian Yuman put her hands on her hips and glared at Tang Yuj. Let's see how he explains this matter. Oh, haha, this is a hotel owned by a subsidiary of the Dehao Group, and I am the boss here. Wanting to come in was not a matter of words. Okay, so it's your territory. Feelings have entered the wolf's den. Jian Yuman's hands began to click and she pinched her fingers as she slowly walked towards Mr. Tang, but this time it was not as simple as walking over. There was already an extra pillow in her hand, and she threw it at Tang Yuj crazily. Not long after Tang Yuj left, he received a notice to change rooms. The embassy sympathized with the hard work of the translators and provided a room for each person to stay in. Some people were happy and some were sad. Jian Yuman moved to a top-notch luxury honeymoon room. The entire room was a full 200 square meters. Her eyes almost popped out of her eyes because of the luxury. How could she be so rich? This room costs tens of thousands per night. Jian Yuman even doubted whether it was a mistake, but after thinking about it carefully, she immediately understood that it must have been Tang Yuj. For Tang Yuj, there is no harm in giving the room to Jian Yuman. First of all, the hotel belongs to him, so there will be no loss in letting her stay. It will also avoid the possibility of being disturbed by Tina and other colleagues next time. If it weren't for God today, Tang Yuj and Qian Yuman might have gotten out of hand and had sex. Tang Yuj was not happy whenever he thought of being disturbed by others. In addition, he clearly felt the discord between Qian Yuman and Tina. Naturally, he was eager to protect his wife. He asked Minister Jordan to help and arrange all the places where all the translators lived. Upgraded, except for Tina. The room Tina lived in was a tragedy. It was the smallest room in the entire hotel. It was many times more pitiful than the previous suite, only 25 square meters in size. There is nothing you can do if you want to protest. You can only live there or spend your own money to live somewhere else. In a restaurant, Enyel looked at the big-brained Lisa opposite with an indifferent expression, and her tone was a little impatient. "What on earth do you want to see me for?" Lisa felt unhappy for a while, but she still had a smile on her lips and took a shallow sip of the drink in the glass. "I'm here to cooperate with you." Cooperation? After thinking about it, there is nothing to cooperate with me, and there is no place for cooperation between our two businesses. If there is nothing, I will leave. Enyel stood up and was about to leave. Lisa immediately shouted to Enyel. "Stop, are you going to watch helplessly as the woman in Yuj's arms is not you, but his ex-wife Qian Yuman?" Enyel, who was about to leave, stopped because of Lisa's words. "What do you mean?" Lisa chuckled, and she had already guessed something about it from Enyel's confused eyes. "So you didn't know? A few days ago, Yuj went to the F-country embassy to find Qian Yuman." Lisa told Enyel what happened at that time, and Enyel frowned. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 926. Chapter 926. Mr. Tang's chastity is not guaranteed. 1. She had only been away from London for a week, and she didn't expect that Qian Yuman and Tang Yuj would develop to this extent. As expected, her first instinct as a woman told herself that Qian Yuman was her most terrifying love rival. This feeling had long been in her heart. Yes, after listening to Lisa's words, my hunch was confirmed. Unexpectedly, Kenny Bryce also participated. "How, are you going to just let it go?" "Of course not." Enyel sat back, digesting the news he learned from Lisa. "Speaking of anger, I don't know what charm this Qian Yuman has to deceive two such outstanding men. You don't know that Kenny Bryce tried to get close to him a few years ago, but failed. Later he met when I arrived at Yuj. I fell in love with someone else. As a result, my new and old love actually fell in love with Qian Yuman, and I'm not convinced when I think about it." Enyel curled up the corner of his mouth and looked at Lisa's jealous and ugly face in front of him. When he talked about Qian Yuman, he was just gnashing his teeth. Lisa slammed the table angrily. "Enyel, I know that we have always been at odds. It is a grudge between the two of us. Now that we are seeing Qian Yuman trying to take down Yuj, we can't just sit here and watch. The two of us should cooperate. Will Qian Yuman be taken down? Yiman and Yuja are fighting each other, but the fight between the two of us is a story later." "Oh, how do you plan to break up?" "I listened to your dictation. Qian Yuman and Yuja obviously still have feelings for each other, and their reconciliation is not far away." Enyel crossed his arms and looked at the ugly man opposite him as if he were looking at something interesting. His face and eyes narrowed slightly, with a dangerous light flashing in his eyes. Why didn't Lisa realize what Enyel said? Thinking of this, she held her hands hard and the expression on her face became ferocious. "At this time, I need you to work with me and use some small means to force them to separate, no matter the cost. No matter what kind of conspiracy, as long as it can break them up, it is a good idea." After Lisa saw the relationship between the three of them that day, she had secretly made up her mind to break them up, no matter the cost. Enil laughed, the laughter was sarcastic, and the disgust for Lisa was obvious in his eyes. I said, Lisa, it doesn't matter that you are ugly, but I didn't expect your thoughts to be so disgusting. At any cost? To put it nicely, it's just small means, to say it's ugly, it's despicable means. Are you jealous of Jian Yuman's ability? When you are around Yuj and Kenny, they are charming, not like you, who not only have an ugly face, but also a dirty heart. Enil, what do you mean? Lisa became angry instantly. Not only did she fail to reach a consensus on cooperation with Enil, she was actually ridiculed by the other party. What does it mean? Of course it means literally. Although I, Enil, like Yuj and want to be Mrs. Tang, I have to use my charm to make him fall in love with me. Instead of doing some despicable means to make him fall in love with me. The sarcasm at the corner of Anil's mouth was too obvious. The face that always had a warm smile just now had an expression of ridicule, disgust, and disgust. Lisa was stunned for a second, and then noticed the sarcastic expression on Anil's face. Anil, don't pretend to be so holy. Don't you feel jealous at all when you hear that Jian Yuman is surrounded by Yuj and Kenny? We are both women and I understand your thoughts. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 927. Chapter 927 Mr. Tang's chastity is not guaranteed to. Enil, don't pretend to be so holy. Don't you feel jealous at all when you hear that Jian Yuman is surrounded by Yuj and Kenny? We are both women and I understand your thoughts. Who knows if she has already beaten other Xiaojuju in her heart, still pretending to be holy in front of her, and using her own charm. At this time, only conspiracy methods can win Tangyu's heart. She must break up Tangyuj and Jian Yuman, and she must not let Jian Yuman, a villain, succeed. Ha ha ha. You and I have never been the same kind of people, Lisa. If we were the same kind of people, just think about it with your pig brain and you will know that we will become friends. The reason why we have become enemies after seeing each other for so many years just because we are not the same kind of people. I put it here, if Yuj likes me, I will fight for it, and if he likes others, I will bless them, and I will never conspire to break them up. And you, I kindly warn you. You, don't do anything fearless, be careful and bear the consequences. Enil was like a proud queen at this moment. She stood up, picked up her bag, looked at Lisa from top to bottom, and drew a line in front of them, dividing the two into two types of people. This ignorant woman thought she had a strong family background, so she tried to do some disgusting tricks. Lisa often did this kind of thing in the past, for things or people she liked. However, this woman who has wanted almost everything since she was a child rarely gets what she wants. She didn't realize at all that Tangyuj was not like the people who forcibly ruined other people's lives in the past. He just let her play with her without fighting back. Having known Tangyuj for the past 2 years, Enil knew clearly that Tangyuj was a very dangerous person under his polite and evil appearance. She would not kindly remind Lisa in many ways, but she would be happy to see the day when Lisa reaped the consequences. Enil left proudly without shaking his head. He seemed to be leaving in a chic manner, but the corners of his mouth that were turned up even if he wasn't smiling were pouting unhappily at the moment. Is the little fairy really still in love with Yuj? Think about it, there are a few women who don't like Yuj and will abandon him. But I'm not convinced. I, Enil, finally fell in love with a man, and I haven't chased him yet. I got it? Woo, I'm not in love yet, but I'm already in love. Enil was in a very depressed mood. All he could think about was what Lisa said just now, and the more he thought about it, the more sad he became. No, I have to see with my own eyes whether it is true that the two of them have feelings for each other as that Lisa said obviously, Seeing them interact before, it didn't look like. Thinking again of that day in the restaurant, Tang Yuj and Qian Yuman came back from the toilet, and Tang Yuj still had lipstick on his lips. The possibility that the two of them would still be disconnected became more and more likely. In the end, Enyil decided to meet Qian Yuman to find out the truth. After Enyil left, Lisa in the restaurant was so angry that Enyil turned black. Her whole body was trembling violently with anger, and her anger continued to rise. Qian Yunyun, who had been at the next table, naturally witnessed everything and sat over immediately. Lisa, that Enyil is so ignorant of praise, he is just a white lotus. Yes, Holy Mother White Lotus, she thinks she is so holy, she might go behind our back and find trouble with Qian Yuman the next second. What about us? Without Enyil's help, won't we destroy it? I absolutely can't watch Qian Yuman and Tang Yuj get back together again. Qian Yunyun gritted her teeth. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 928. Chapter 928 Mr. Tang's chastity is not guaranteed. 3. What about us? Without Enyil's help, won't we destroy it? I absolutely can't watch Qian Yuman and Tang Yuj get back together again. Qian Yunyun gritted her teeth. If there is anyone in the world who despises Qian Yuman the most, it is her. Qian Yunyun. Why is she the one who has been noticed since childhood? When they were young, the two of them went out together, and the people they met always liked to talk and laugh around Qian Yuman. There were even times when I saw a man I liked. The man he liked must have seen Qian Yuman, and she was just a dispensable existence. Obviously she is as beautiful as Qian Yunyun, but whenever she is around Qian Yuman, her charm is like running away from home and becomes dispensable. Because they are cousins, everyone likes to compare the two, and they also like to suppress her to promote Qian Yuman. Years of discord made her even more disgusted with this cousin who existed like a bright spot. Later, a series of events caused her family to fall into decline, and she had to sacrifice her body to climb up to the upper class. All this was caused by Tang Yuj protecting his wife and suppressing their family. If Qian Yuman gets back together with Tang Yuj, Qian Yunyun will be unable to hold her head high, so she must separate the two. Naturally we won't let them get back together. Lisa's slightly stiff face showed a strange smile. She took out a bottle of medicine from her pocket and put it on the table. This is it. Qian Yunyun picked up the medicine and looked at Lisa in surprise when she saw the name. This is the medicine I asked my friend for. It is not an ordinary medicine. Men who take it must have with women, otherwise the effects of the medicine will remain in the body and may even cause harm to the body. The point is that this medicine 95% of the time it will make a man lose his mind within 15 minutes after eating it, and he will not be able to resist at all. Even if he is given an ugly girl, he will be punished on the spot. Lisa showed a confident smile and raised her eyebrows triumphantly. This is the latest research from my friend. There is no such powerful medicine out there. And another advantage is that it can make the woman pregnant 80% of the time. The medicine is very powerful and can make men and women do bad things non-stop throughout the night. As long as I am pregnant with Yuj's child, and I believe that he will definitely be responsible for me. Even if I am not pregnant with the child, my position in his heart will definitely be different from the past for the woman he spent a night with. Qian Yunyun looked at the medicine in her hand, her eyes shining with a light that resisted the wind, and she clapped her hands. Lisa, this is a good idea. If you become Mrs. Tang, how can Qian Yuman have any chance of succeeding? Qian Yunyun thought in her mind that if she had with Tang Yuj that night and became pregnant with Tang Yuj's child, then it would be her, Qian Yunyun, who would become Mrs. Tang. Thinking of this, Qian Yunyun has made a decision in her heart, but this decision must not be known to Lisa. The two women began to discuss heatedly, what method, when to make this plan, and how to make Tang Yuj take the medicine. This requires the right time, place, and people, and of course they need some means to successfully climb to Mrs. Tang's position. The two women here were having a heated discussion. Qian Yuman called Chao Xiaofeng several times to ask out, but she couldn't find anyone. Chao Xiaofeng, who now works at the International Finance Corporation, doesn't know what she has been busy with recently. Limited exemption today, just for this day, hurry up and check it out. Everyone, enjoy reading the article for free. But remember to subscribe tomorrow, the 24th. I stayed up late for more than 10 days in a row to finish tomorrow's 100,000 updated manuscripts. Tears came out. Monthly tickets, recommended votes, rewards, give me the money. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 929. Chapter 929 Not Mom. 1. Chao Xiaofeng, who now works at the International Finance Corporation, doesn't know what she has been busy with recently. She would only reply to her when she had time to send text messages, which made Qian Yuman a little worried that something had happened to her. Finally, after 3 days of playing in Qianyiman, Chao Xiaofeng finally had time to go out and play. It has been a month since Qian Yuman came to London. She and her best friend Chao Xiaofeng meet and have a meal almost once every 3 days. But in the past few days, they had not met for dinner for 5 days, which made Qian Yuman incredible. Although Chao Xiaofeng kept saying that she was busy with work, Qian Yuman could clearly feel that she was lying. Chao Xiaofeng, who graduated from the University of California, found it easy to find a job. In the past 3 years, she always proudly said that her job was very easy and she could often be lazy at work. I have never heard her complain about working overtime. Instead, she has nothing to share about topics such as how much bonus she has received recently and how much her salary has exceeded this month. When Qian Yuman finally saw Chao Xiaofeng, she clearly felt that her friend's complexion was a little bad. Although her mood seemed normal and she was talking and laughing, she had been good friends with her for so many years. How could she not see that she was forcing herself? Laugh to yourself. What are you doing? Are you in a bad mood? It's okay. Chao Xiaofeng was obviously a little depressed, which was much different from his usual energetic appearance. Qian Yuman nodded clearly and thought of a possibility. Did you quarrel with Ye Yuan? Chao Xiaofeng's body trembled and her mood became obviously depressed. Qian Yuman smiled and patted Chao Xiaofeng's shoulder. Chao Xiaofeng and Ye Yuan have been together for almost 3 years. At that time, Chao Xiaofeng was originally going to go back to S City for development, but then one day she said she had found a job and would not go to S City. She was still in disbelief. Later, when she saw Ye Yuan, who was excellent in all aspects next to Chao Xiaofeng, she finally understood that the reason for this guy forgetting his friends was because Ye Yuan did not return to his country. What was the quarrel about? Qian Yuman asked again. Chao Xiaofeng sighed deeply. It's just some small things, but you said you're really annoyed. What's wrong? Qian Yuman got a headache when she mentioned this. She immediately told Chao Xiaofeng what happened in the past few days, as well as her depressed and uncontrollable little heart. Of course, she also told what happened that day when she almost lost control with Tang Yuj. Everything Chao Xiaofeng knew was known to Qian Yuman. She had been abroad and did not know the truth of what happened back then. Everything she knew was told to her by Qian Yuman. Naturally, she did not know that Qi Lili had pretending to be Qian Yuman jumped into the river to force a divorce. In her heart, she was even more angry with Tang Yuj than Qian Yuman, so she knew that her friend almost lost her life because she knew that her divorce from Tang Yuj had caused a difficult childbirth, so she strongly opposed her friend's continued entanglement with Tang Yuj. What kind of sister is not a sister? I hate men the most. This is unclear. Feelings are not as important as life. Tangyuj is a poison, and Qian Yuman will be bruised all over if he touches it. Finally seeing Qian Yuman get over her past relationship, she naturally doesn't want her friend to fall into it again. In addition, Chao Xiaofeng is also a senior member of the Appearance Association. She has strongly approved of Qian Yuman and Kenny being together a long time ago. In her opinion, being pampered and loved by her husband is her most ideal marriage. In addition, I have seen Qian Yuman and Kenny get along with each other countless times, and I firmly stand on Kenny's team. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 930. Chapter 930 Not Mom. 2. Xiaofeng, what do you think I should do? I feel like I can't let him go. Qian Yuman's cherry mouth pouted, feeling very upset. Hey. I support you and Kenny being together, but the most important thing is who you like and who you want to be with. If you can let go of the hurt you suffered in the past and he can cherish you, choosing him will make you happy. Be happy and naturally choose people who make you happy. But the person he likes in his heart is Murong 11. Maybe he already has Murong 11 by his side now. If I do something, I will become a mistress. Chao Xiaofeng was stopped by Qian Yuman's words and sighed deeply. Hey. He already has someone in his heart, and you can only have unrequited love. In the end, you will be the only one who gets hurt. Chao Xiaofeng said it. Why didn't she not understand? She knew that if she continued to interact with him, she would suffer more and more. Poor child. Chao Xiaofeng stretched out her hand and gently patted Qian Yuman's face. Sometimes relationships are so troublesome. Why should we insist on something impossible? Like each other may not be able to go to the end. Once we have one, we will be satisfied. Why must we insist on getting a result? It's better to cherish your present life and enjoy the moment. Chao Xiaofeng's words made Qian Yuman realize instantly, yes. Why does she insist on what will happen with Tangyuj? Her feelings for him were buried deep in her heart, and she would not suffer any loss if they were ambiguous. It's better to go away in peace and worry about the final result. Forget it, forget it. I don't want to think about it anymore, let things develop as they please. Don't worry about it anymore. At worst, I will become a flower-picking thief and pick beautiful men from all over the world. Qian Yuman was like a female demon, piercing her waist and laughing. That appearance was as obscene as it could be, and Chao Xiaofeng couldn't help but hug her body. Don't be interested in women. The two women were talking and laughing. Qian Yuman suddenly slapped her thigh and saw a familiar figure. This figure was deeply engraved in Qian Yuman's mind, and she was someone she would never forget in her life. Like a fighting cock, Qian Yuman stood up immediately and flew over quickly on high heels. When she saw the man, she didn't care about anything else. She took a water glass and poured it on the man's head. The water in the quilt was still lemonade, with a bit of sour taste. Wang Yuan, you bitch, you finally let me see you. I've been waiting for 8 years to finally let me meet you. Qian Yuman picked up the menu on the side and threw it at Wang Yuan. Not polite at all, he almost beat her to death. Wang Yuan is a virus-like person to the Qi family. It was because she used ugly means to break up the Qi family. Mother Qian got divorced and ran away in anger. Qian Yuman also left with her mother and changed her name from Qi Manman to Qian Yuman. Qian Yuman hates Wang Yuan so much that her family has been separated for so many years, and her parents have never seen each other again. Just imagine that had it not been for Wang Yuan's intervention, Qian's mother would not have left the country, and the subsequent series of tragedies would not have happened. It was also because of Wang Yuan that the relationship between her and her father had been in trouble for 5 years. The father and daughter did not talk to each other for many years, and it was not until 3 years ago that they settled their differences. Because of her guilt and hatred for her father and the others, she left the Chi family and went from being a rich young lady to living abroad with her mother, living under the roof of her uncle. End of this chapter.